Well, here on the sofa, Ricardo is still with us. Jan has come back. We've said goodbye briefly to Wilfried Bungay, but to those of you who are getting in touch wanting to speak to him, don't worry, he's coming back. And Potkins just joined us here on the sofa. He's an Iranian blogger. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. You've
been itching to tell me which sports you'd get out, so let me just sit back and hear what you've got to say.
It has to be taekwondo. I mean, it's like watching two schoolgirls kicking each other. I just can't see any sense into it. I think something like synchronized swimming is even more manly than taekwondo. It's got to go.
This is a man who presumably is quite keen on Greco-Roman wrestling.
Well, actually, freestyle wrestling is more our sport. We normally don't do that well in Greco wrestling.
Iran's had 4 goals.
Exactly, and all the credit should go to one man, and that is the coach. Mohammad Bana is an unbelievable Greco-Roman wrestling coach. When he wasn't the coach, Iran didn't do well. When he is the coach now, Iran's won 3 gold, which is 3 out of the 4 gold medals that we've won. So, you know, a huge credit should go to this man who single-handedly has made this tournament the most successful Olympic tournament Iran has ever been in. And it's a shame that he's retiring after this.
And I know that some of the athletes in the wrestling have made their political views known, and that's kind of divided fans. Do you approve when athletes let their politics hang out?
No, I mean, I assume that you're referring to Hamid Surian, who that's where all the controversy was about. He was the one who presented his gold medal to Ahmadinejad at the height of the killing and the crackdown on the post-election protests. If he chooses to mix politics with sports, he can't expect people not to choose politics with sports. I have to admit, I didn't have that much joy when he won the gold.
But this has come up again with the Syrian team, with some supporters of the opponents in Syria saying these athletes shouldn't be turning out. They're helping to give Assad a veneer of respectability. Ricardo, do you agree with that, or should sport be kept out of it, politics be kept out of it?
I think everybody says politics is out, but it's not. Because I heard about the Lebanese in judo do not want to warm up by the Israelis. I mean, we have a situation that there is the whole argument about the 40 years of the assassination of the 11 athletes. And nobody wants to talk about what they didn't die in the middle of the Olympics. So I think there is a complex situation. I'm totally agreeing with you. I wouldn't be so happy to see Syria athletes. I don't know who they stand for. If not, why England is giving so much aid to Syria?
Well,
Syria, of course, not the government people.
Yeah, $7 million going towards the rebels. Well, I've got a bit of news from the Olympic Park. Just behind me here is the BMX track, and Colombia has taken the gold in the women's race. Fantastic news for those of you in Colombia. Disappointment here in Britain. Sinead Reid was widely tipped to get a gold. That's just happened. I'll get you a full rundown of the gold, silver and bronze in a moment. But Colombia, and to be honest, she was looking the best rider during the semis. She has taken the gold. Congratulations to her. Let me read you some of the messages that have come in. Natalia is watching us in Belgium. Hi, Natalia. Thanks for getting in touch. She says, the Beijing Olympics were so political and controversial. They stole attention from the real focus, the athletes and the events. London has done this better. Great job, London. Well done, Team GB. Veronica is in Dubai. Hi, Veronica. This has been a great effort by Great Britain. I love the venues, but the drawbacks of the organising and the planning, there's still room for improvement. Difficult to please, Veronica. And Charles on Facebook says, the lows of these games have been the controversies, especially getting the South Korea flag. Well, I think the organisers have already apologised for that. I'm surprised there's been criticism of the organisation, and because actually almost everyone I've spoken to has said it's been smoothly run, even if they have reservations about other parts of the
Well, I was
games.
speaking to Jan just before, and because he was covering the Beijing Olympics as well, and I was asking him how it compares with that, and he made a very good point. This is a lot more relaxed. He was saying that in Beijing, I mean, you can say it better yourself, but he was saying in Beijing...
you're doing fine.
Maybe you could just answer all of Jan's questions for him.
Have some more.
I'm just quoting him because I think he made a very valid point. You know, he was saying the officials, they had so much power, and there was so many houses that was abolished. There was so much land that was flattened just to get the Olympics going. None of that happened here. This is a very relaxed Olympics where people can just enjoy it, and I think it's to the credit of London. Everyone thought it was going to be a lot of traffic. Even that didn't happen.
Well, I think a lot of people left town.
Exactly.
We'll hear from Jan what you said back to him in a moment. But, first of all, I've been inviting all of you watching to call us on BBC_WHYS. You can do that on Skype. Roger's done just that. He's in Calgary. Hi, Roger. What do you want to say?
Hi. Well, I want to make a case for IPL T20 cricket. I think that it's a very exciting sport. It's very short, it's results-oriented, and it's been watched by millions of people all over the world. I don't know if most of the world know about the IPL, but if they ever tune in, it's just a wonderfully exciting game, and I think it would fit in nicely to the Olympic schedule.
Well, this is interesting. I was doing a radio show for BBC World Service Radio a couple of days ago at a Trinidadian cultural village in London. When I said, what sport would you add? Loads of people said T20 cricket. You're looking like you don't even know quite what it is. It's the shortest form of cricket, 20 overs each. It takes about 3 hours to go. Jan?
I'd love to have cricket. I don't understand anything of it, but it's getting more and more popular.
Learn, right?
Yeah, it is. And the Olympics is a place to learn, isn't it?
I'm surprised rugby hasn't been an Olympic sport until now. I think that is the greatest game ever. It's something that you can't slow it down. It's a very athletic game. I'm very pleased to know that it's going to be included in Brazil.
Perfect for Brazilians.
We just lost 100-1 against Chile 3 weeks ago.
Oh, it's a start.
I was promising all of
We
you
are
watching.
optimistics.
I was promising all of you watching the full result from the women's BMX. Mariana Pajan of Colombia taking gold. Congratulations to her. Sarah Walker of New Zealand, a great result for her, taking the silver. And Laura Smulders of the Netherlands taking bronze. So no medal for Sinead Reid for the second Olympics running. And when you consider she's one of the top riders in the world, that will be a bitter pill. Let me have a look through some of the other new sports that are being suggested. Arad on Twitter says, BMX freestyle, I was lobbying for this one earlier, says it would be a bunch of bar spins, tail whips, back flips, front flips, flares and other rad stuff. Who am I to argue? I'd like to see that. Paul in Christchurch in New Zealand says it'd be great if cricket was added. The 2020 format would work. He's looking forward to golf and rugby sevens though, Ricardo.
Well, I welcome him. He could come and teach us. I think we are going to have trouble because the attendance will be fully foreigners. So you could even find one place that you speak only English in Rio.
And YouTube on Twitter says Malaysia's lobbying for squash, which I'm glad to hear because it seems to me it ought to be in the games. And Hong Kong is going for mahjong. What would you put in, Puckin?
What was that last one?
Mahjong. It's a game.
As I said, rugby would have been my first choice. I really can't understand why rugby is not an Olympic sport until now.
Rugby sevens. I mean, no one plays rugby.
Rugby seven is a very fast game. I used to play at school and I loved it. It'd be awesome. It would definitely bring in a lot of viewers, no doubt. Much more than taekwondo, like two schoolgirls kicking each other.
Still angry.
You need to let the taekwondo go.
I can't.
I think he was beaten by somebody.
No taekwondo practice.
Have you had an extreme taekwondo experience?
What actually happened in school?
No taekwondo player can come near me, honestly.
Right. Keep your comments coming, and don't forget, Wilfried Bungai will be back to answer your questions in a couple of minutes' time. I'm Ross Atkins. This is World Have Your Say, overlooking the Olympic Park as we cast an eye over the 2012 Games. Taylor has tweeted us to say, my new Olympic sport would be ultimate frisbee. I'm liking this. He says, just so we can watch the Asian countries kicking it, crouching tiger, hidden dragon style. Maybe they could get rid of taekwondo and replace it with ultimate frisbee. I don't know, that might work. Ahmed in Toronto says, there are too many swimming events, halve them. And Dan Hodges, a blogger for the Daily Telegraph newspaper, says, Philip Sidoyu, and that's the British triple jumper, he says, has claimed gold in the new Olympic sport of cutting off your nose to spite your face. Let's bring in Savannah Nightingale from the World Have Your Say team to hear what's being said on the phones. Hi, Savannah.
Hi, Ross. How are you? I hope you're well over there. We're getting a lot of calls coming in from South Africa, Ghana and Malaysia. We've had this from Pakistan. Samia says, I think the games have been absolutely magnificent, but I recommend T20 cricket must be added to the Olympics. Danny in Birmingham in England says, we at Team GB have done extremely well so far, but we need other sports covered, and he recommends darts, golf and snooker. And then Levine in the USA posts on Twitter, McDonald's continues to be the official restaurant of the Olympic Games. I will never, ever understand that. Seems a lot of you have been tweeting and calling us with that comment as well. Nee in the UK tweeted, true Olympic legacy would be for each Team GB athlete to adopt a school and to give free coaching and mentoring. It's time to give a little bit back. And Shirox in Australia posts, what am I going to do now that the Olympics is drawing to a close? I think I'm going to need some serious therapy. Well, there you go. Keep your calls coming in and you can keep tweeting us. The hashtag is WHYS.
Thanks, Savannah. Yeah, we're all going to have quite a lot of time on our hands, aren't we? Now there aren't sports we know very little about, featuring people we've never heard of, but for some reason we're massively emotionally involved. Now, we've said goodbye to Ricardo. Wilfried Bungei is back, the 800 metres champion from Beijing. Jan and Potkin are still here. Wilfried, we've had lots of calls and questions for you. Quite a lot of people would like to ask how you would explain to people back in East Africa the success of the British athletes. Having seen them at these games, how have they gone from one gold in Atlanta to what they're doing now?
Well, I think the most important thing that we can learn as East Africans is that, being regarded as the best, and especially being able to handle the pressure, because I know for a fact that, the British athletes, they were under a lot of pressure, as I said before, performing here at home. For example, my countrymen and women, they were coming here as the favorite, and unfortunately, like 1500 meters, if I may talk about 1500 meters, the boys, they were really number 1, 2, 3 in terms of ranking for this year. But I think the pressure that they had on their shoulders, they were not able to handle compared, for example, with the British athletes, because, for them, in fact, if we talk about anyone who was under a lot of pressure, it should have been the British athletes, but they perform under the pressure. So that is something that is so important, that you are able to handle as an athlete.
And I'll get the other questions for you in a moment, but I was promising all of you watching the result from the BMX. Marius Stromberg of Latvia has won the men's gold medal. Congratulations to him. Sam Willoughby of Australia, silver. Carlos Zabala of Colombia, bronze. And with Colombia winning the gold as well, it really has been a fantastic day in the BMXing for Colombians. So if you're watching there, I hope you enjoy that result. Now, another question, Wilfried, everyone wants to ask you is whether you would like Kenya to host the Olympics. Is that something you would like them to take on?
Well, Rose, let me point this fact that when it was South Africa to host the World Cup, everybody, there were so many skeptics, who say that are they really going to deliver? And I think South Africans, for example, show that Africans can host any major event. And I think Kenya, given 10 years down the line, honestly, they'll be able to do it.
All right, that's interesting. Well, let me pull up this comment from Sarah Coles on AOL.co.uk. Should it really cost tens of billions of pounds in order to provide a few weeks of work to a few thousand people? And will the nation really be better off with the addition of a few specialist stadiums and the experience of having been able to watch gymnastics or table tennis beamed from a local venue you couldn't even get tickets for, as opposed to the other side of the world? And Jan, not many people are saying it wasn't good fun, but some people are saying it was good fun, but it was just, I could have a good time if I booked into the most expensive hotel in the world, but I can't afford it. Should Britain try to afford the Games at this cost? £9 billion, $15 billion.
It's not that much compared to the Beijing Olympics. And what it will depend on is whether you will have a lasting impression on, for example, the east of London, the youth.
Well,
everything.
you're from one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Yeah. Would you like to see the Oslo Games?
No.
Why not?
No, I mean, that would increase our nationalism, chauvinism even more. It's not good for us. We want to travel the world.
What about the Tehran Games?
Well, definitely not under this regime. I mean, I can just imagine the morality.
Could be a tough sell to the IOC.
Absolutely. I mean, I can just imagine the morality police in the streets arresting the beach volleyball players and all the tourists who are not observing their headscarf properly.
But nonetheless,
it wouldn't be a lot of fun.
We know that cities like Paris and also Madrid, and we know the problems with the Spanish economy at the moment, Madrid is still interested in either 2020 or 2024. Do you think that's just madness?
I don't actually, because you shouldn't just look at the expenditure and just come up with a figure. As Jan says, there's a legacy to this. I mean, there's going to be a lot of kids who've been watching this, and they're going to have role models, and they're going to be interested in sports, and it's a very much more long-term investment, and you shouldn't just say, oh, it's cost $10 billion of what we've got out of it. It's not. The calculation is not as simple as that.
Great Britain needs the boost of it as well, doesn't it? Don't you?
Just before we wrap up, Wilfried, Belinda wants to ask you, if you and Rudisha had a race now, do you think you could beat him?
Well, absolutely not. Rudisha is in his own class, I would say, so no, I can't. But let me add on this, about what we are talking about. I think sport is supposed to bring about unity. If we talk about this country cannot help this country cannot do this. I thought, the spirit of Olympics is about, you know, bringing the whole world together.
But
And that's
if
exactly
Kenya's athletes this games were doing incredibly, you would have that feeling of unity back home, but without any of the cost. Isn't that better?
Well, of course, that's it. But at the end of the day, I look at the bigger picture. That is, you know, bringing unity, you know, to the whole world. You know, regardless of where you come from, regardless of where the games is done.
I'm all for unity, but the games have to be fun. I'm just saying that under this regime, if they held the Olympics in Tehran, it wouldn't be any fun.
Got a couple of other suggestions. Sarah says the Olympics are going to be worth watching because rugby's in it. Hungover Alan has tweeted us saying the last day of the Olympics should feature all the gold medalists playing dodgeball until we have the ultimate Olympian. That is a great idea. And Gigi is complaining that if all sports should be done by men and women, why no synchronised swimming for the men?
Exactly.
Potkin, you could take that cause up on your blog.
I've never thought of that, actually. It's a good question. Thank you. I'll think about it.
Nice to meet you, Potkin. Jan, thank you very much for coming in. Wilfred, we appreciate your time as well. Thanks to all of our other guests who have been with us as well. If you want to join me live on BBC World Service Radio at 21 hours GMT, we're going to be continuing the BBC's coverage on a programme called London Calling. It would be good to hear from you. If you'd like to take part, you can post, as you always do for World Have Your Say, at facebook.com/World Have Your Say. Speak to you soon. Goodbye.
Наши птицы играют в